All right, good evening. Sorry for the delay, a little technical difficulty. Call this meeting to order. All rise. We'll take a moment of silence in memory of Pete Arnold before we start the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry again for the delay. We're going to start the meeting off with the educational report. Ms. Gailey will recognize staff and students on achievements and accomplishments. Ms. Gailey.
I just wanted to recognize the graduation that we held on Friday evening. Just want to congratulate the class of 2020. Wanted to thank the graduates and their families for the nice event that we were able to hold in light of the circumstances. We wanted to be able to provide something in person, provide closure for students and families. It was our goal to be able to hold a traditional full ceremony, but given the circumstances, we wanted to provide something. I do want to thank our maintenance and custodial staff for their preparation in the parking and helping out during the week, the day of, and that night, being able to help make sure we had the venue ready to go. I also want to thank the high school administration and guidance departments for being able to have everything prepared with all the diplomas, the lists, and everything. So wanted to thank them. Reminder to everyone that there will be an edited online version released within the week. So within the week, we hope to have an edited online version that will be released. That will include all of the pre-recorded speeches from the valedictorian, salutatorian, class president. That will have messages from others as well, such as the president of Pennsylvania University, Dr. Chuck Johnson will be on there as well, as well as clips from the live videos. So just kind of that will be coming out, as well as a link for families to be able to have access to pictures. Any of the pictures that were taken, there will be a link that will be provided for families to have access to as well. So just want to congratulate again the class of 2020.
All right, great, thank you. Next, new financial items, fund report including cafeteria fund balance. This is informational only. Ms. Gailey.
Just so I can answer questions, I do want to kind of first share that you'll notice that the format is different. It is in portrait landscape layout, so it's changed this month. We will continue to tweak this to meet your guys' needs. So as you guys give us feedback, we will be able to format it differently. Over the past 2 weeks, our office has been going through training, the transition of CompuTrol, our financial system, to the online web-based system. So it's just unfortunate timing that it was right here at the end of the month when they're trying to close the books down for the month end. They're trying to close payroll, trying to do the claims, everything while trying to get the training of transitioning. So that's why you'll also notice, besides the fund report, when you get to the claims, that you'll see that part of them was trying to end the month quickly right before the training, so it's in the old system, and then transitioning to the new system. So you'll notice some of those differences as we're going through. With the fund report, I know we always want to kind of mention the school lunch fund. You will notice as it has that negative $83,000 balance. We did get a deposit today for $9,242.94. That still puts us 73 in the hole. If you recall again, you're looking at, we had 2 months, April and May, where we were not having revenue coming in from student purchases of meals. And we were still paying out our employees through those months. So that's that area there that's low. We do have a few options for that we can consider over the next couple of months. We can look at the possibility of using CARES money to be able to help us in that balance, because that is a approved area to be able to utilize in your meals program if you're continuing to deliver and provide meals through the end of the school year. I know also the city has mentioned that if there's areas that we have needed assistance due to the end of the school year, they would consider assisting us if we needed. But there's a couple, I think we have a few options that we could consider for that as well. Looking at the school security grant, that's a negative fund, but that's reimbursable. So we'll receive the reimbursement once we put into the state for that. If you go down further, the early college program, I know the past couple months we've talked about that, has a negative $4,600 in there. Is that the bookkeeper from the high school's been out and will be back in next Monday. Hopefully there should be money that has come in over the time she's been out to be able to take care of that one. The very last line on your page, 3029, which is special education excess cost, that's a student placement that we're waiting for our agreement with the state to be signed off on by the state, and then we'll start getting reimbursements for that, which will zero that one out as well. Other ones on the back side are mostly reimbursable state grants on page 2, but I can answer if there's questions that you have about the fund report.
Any questions from any board member on this? All right, thank you. The approval of claims, I need a motion, please. Mr. Johnson. Need a second. Mr. Miller. Mr. Gilly.
Again, looking at the claims, you'll notice it is in a different format. And this is the very first one that Mrs. Taylor's had an opportunity to be able to put together and review. If you look at it, you will notice there are no fund numbers on here, so we will add those. That's something we just found out today. So we will need to get with Comptroller to find out how we can put the fund numbers on there so you'll know what fund it's coming out of. So we'll have those added on. Also, you'll notice that there are payroll deductions, that there's people listed and it's really payroll money versus, which is employee money deductions versus corporation dollars on here. Those really need to be pulled off of this because those aren't claims because it's employee money that's being used. So as I said, this is the first month we're starting to put this together. We will tweak it and really improve this over the next 2 months as we revise it. My recommendation would be to approve the claims, but we really need to clean this document up and pull those payroll dollars off, as you noticed today, and we'll get you a clean copy. The clean copy you will see will significantly reduce in the amount of money that is listed here because you're pulling off all those payroll dollars that are listed. But are there any claims items that I can answer on these documents? I know I had a few phone calls today and answered a few, but are there others that I can answer?
Any questions for anybody on the board? All right.
They were starting tomorrow. They're going to the, I forget what it's called. They're basically like pulling the plug to start releasing to drain the water. So it starts tomorrow. We had to put the money that's on here, we had to put a deposit down because there are, I believe, 4 installments that we'll be paying on that through the project.
Any other questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. By the way, Mr. Jansen is absent from the meeting tonight. C, approval of the annual financial report. Need a motion, please. Mr. Kniga, need a second. Ms. Nance, Mr. Gale.
You have included in your packet the full annual financial report listed there. As I mentioned in my brief to you guys, there is a summary of that a summary or a smaller version of that we will be publishing. So this entire document that you have in there is a full document. It will not be published. There's a summary document of that will be published. That's a more condensed version, but we provide the entire document for your review.
All right. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. Great. Next, approval of Form 9. Need a motion, please. Ms. Rybold, I need a second. Mr. Miller. Mr. Gale.
The Form 9 is our 6-month financials, so it's an update of our 6-month financials listed there, and it is also located in your packet as well.
Any questions, comments from the board? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. All All right, E is informational only budget, 2021 budget adoption schedule, Ms. Gailey.
Just a reminder of that schedule because it does have that special meeting on September 28th, so please do make sure that you add that to your calendar. Everything else matches up with the September regular meeting, October regular meeting, but September 28th would be a special meeting.
Anybody else got any questions, comments?
I'll continue to include that in the packet all the way through the process.
At this time, we're gonna take a recess from the regular board meeting, and we're gonna go to the special meeting, Ms. Gailey.
It is our preliminary determination hearing. We are going to recess at 6:29 p.m. and we will resume after that preliminary determination meeting. Those that are online, you may continue to stay with us during that preliminary determination hearing, which should maybe take 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll resume the meeting. I know there are a number of people online, 73, that are waiting to be able to see the reentry plan. We will get to that shortly.
All right, again, we apologize. So I'm gonna turn this over and see if we got people online from a couple places, so.
I want to welcome those that are online.
Yes. So I guess I'll do a little roll call first to make sure. So bond counsel for Ice Miller is Jane, are you on? Thank you. Financial advisors for Baker Tilly, I'm sorry, we got the Velvia, is that correct?
Yep, Velvia, yep.
Okay, and is Joe on also?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, great. And architects, Lancer and plus BB, Terry Lancer?
Terry Lancer's here.
Great. And here in the room, we have construction management, Maxwell Construction, we have Ryan Strotman, and I don't know if Jeff Linus is going to be online or not. Okay, great. And the school corporation attorneys, Mr. Zach Anderson and Dale Welton are here present also. So I'll call this meeting to order. It's a special session of the school board trustees. This is a preliminary determination hearing for July 13th of 2020. The next item on the agenda is for the board to hold a preliminary hearing on the proposed high school project. After presentation by the administration and its advisors, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about this project. The notice of this preliminary determination hearing was published as legally required in the Journal Press on June 30th, 2020, and in the Dearborn County Register on July 2nd, 2020. At this time, I will ask Mr. Gailey to explain the purpose of this hearing. Mr. Gailey.
Thank you. Pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-20-3.5, a school corporation must hold 2 public hearings and adopt a resolution to preliminarily determine to issue bonds or enter a lease for a project which has a total project cost in excess of a non-controlled project. These resolutions establish the maximum financial terms for the proposed project.
All right, we'll now hear from Mr. Gailey about the process of determining and communicating the project to the community and the need for the project. Mr. Gailey.
The board had previously held preliminary determination hearings and adopted the related resolutions in October of 2019 for the projects. Since that time, the design and construction team have worked on construction plans and estimated that the total cost of the high school project are estimated to be higher than originally projected. However, the overall tax increase is the same as reported in the fall of 2019. Due to this change in the overall cost, the school board is required to hold these two public hearings again for the high school project and follow the related procedures. So at this time, I kind of want to discuss why it has led to that. So there was a general educational study conducted a few years ago, but after we got more in-depth and started looking at the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, in-depth review and investigations have led to more specific needs, such as the replacement of the boiler at the high school, fire suppression systems, and HVAC controls in other places of the building, such as the auxiliary gym and swimming pool areas. Therefore, those have led to increased costs to the project.
All right. We will now hear from Terry Lancer, the architect, Lancer plus BB, about how the proposed project meets the needs as described by the superintendent.
Yeah, so Lancer plus BD Architecture did a study on the current Lawrenceburg High School a couple of years ago and determined there were many needs to the academic portions of the high school. And basically, the existing high school has not been renovated in many years, and it really does not meet the needs of the students, the staff, or the community to deliver instruction for today's students. So the renovations would include mostly all the academic areas of the high school, including new art rooms, new industrial arts, a special education suite. Also, we're going to look at renovating the cafeteria that has not been renovated in many years. We'll look at infilling the floors at the band and choir to provide a more flexible learning area in those. We're also going to look at renovating the science classrooms and laboratories that have just been kind of worn out over the years and are not up to date. We'll also look at renovating other areas of academics, including math classrooms, business classrooms, language art classrooms, world language, computer labs, the media center. We'll also be renovating for social studies and achievement Play-Doh room and the JAG room. So basically, the project is a complete renovation of the academic spaces of the high school. And then again, also, as Carl stated, we'll be looking at infrastructure, basically replacing mechanical systems that are just at the end of their life, and also look at some energy savings projects, replacing old fluorescents with LED light bulbs and other items that are similar to that will provide cost savings for the school corporation for many years to come.
Thank you, Mr. Lancer. Next, we will hear from Baker Tilly, Municipal Advisories LLC. They are our municipal advisor about how the proposed project will be financed, as well as information about the effects on the typical property taxpayer. Jane?
At this time, we're going to turn it over to Belvia and Joe. Belvia and Joe, I do have your project update loaded on our screen. So if you would like to go through page by page.
Okay, super. Thanks. I see it kind of in the background, so I see it there. Good evening, everyone. This is Belvia Gray with Baker Tilly, and I have my colleague Joe Ciancio with me. We'll be walking through the financial information for the high school project, and we have some updates for the other projects as well. So on slide 2, this shows the school corporation's current existing indebtedness. And right now you have debt that will be fully repaid in 2026. Slide 3, this has basically updates from the project hearings that were held back in October to June of 2020. And you can see that for the projects other than the high school projects, that those are still within what had been previously authorized. The Central Elementary is a little bit higher, but due to its size, is not subject to any additional process. So that's why we're just talking about the high school project here today. If you go to slide 4, this shows all of the information pulled together. And as Mr. Daly mentioned, we were able to keep the overall increase in tax payment or tax impact the same as we were sharing back in October. So that's still at 10.73 cents. The trade-off, because the trade-off is that in some of those latter years, the payments are a little bit higher because of the additional borrowing from the high school project. However, we were still able to preserve the structure that we were anticipating back in October, which was to create capacity for the school in years 2024 and 2026. You can see we're still are showing that here as well. The last slide here then shows the estimated taxpayer impact, which is the same as what we shared back in October. The only change being we did update the median home value, which increased by about $7,000 from back in October when we pulled information. So the updated median home value is reflected here. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the finance portion of the presentation.
Does any board members have questions for Belvia or Joe?
No, not this time. Thank you very much. We appreciate being here.
You're welcome.
Next, we will open the public hearing. We ask that you state your name and limit your comments to the proposed project and financing, and avoid being repetitive if possible. So if anybody would like to ask any questions, they can get on. Got any questions? Just let us know, type it in, and Mr. Gailey will look on the computer and see who has anything. We'll give it a few minutes here and see if anybody responds. Okay, there are no questions at this time. I just want to thank you to everyone who participated in the hearing. We appreciate your time and interest in this project and the future of our community. No board action is legally required at this hearing. Rather, this hearing is solely to hear public comments. The board will continue to work with the administration and its professionals to look for efficiencies to conserve tax dollars while meeting our educational needs. The board will hold a second public hearing in this room, the Green Hill Commons room, on July 15th, 2020 at 5 p.m. That's this Wednesday. At this time, this meeting is.
Are there any questions for board members of any of our financial people, bond counsel, architects, our council?
I do have one. Mr. Lancer, I will not be able to make it to the Wednesday meeting, so I was asking us, you want up $7 million at the high school, is that correct? $6 million. Is that mostly because of, and that's what I want to explain, make so people understand. It's mostly because of not stuff that we want, it's more needs, is that correct? Like the boiler system and the HVAC controls, I mean, ours are good, but if we're gonna have everything pulled apart, just say it's best to go ahead and replace it now, because it'd be better cost efficient to do it now than later.
Yes, Kevin, that is correct. The increase in the cost to the project is almost entirely due to our engineering team reviewing your infrastructure of the high school. And in reviewing the infrastructure, they actually found large pieces of mechanical equipment that were in need of replacement, that weren't included in kind of the original kind of architectural study, but they do support those spaces. Also, as they were reviewing the high school, they found other areas of energy efficiencies that they suggested while this renovation was taking place, that it'd be a good idea to look at some of these energy efficiencies that could be included that would save the school corporation and the taxpayers money year after year from now on. So the increases were almost entirely due to infrastructure projects, mechanical systems and controls, and energy savings projects that were identified by the engineers when we started designing the project.
It's basically, we'll pay for it now, but it's gonna save us later on in the long run.
It will save year after year with these energy savings for many, many years to come.
Okay, great. And then, Mr. Gailey?
Right, so one example, if you go into the specific cost, you'll see the boiler, once they cost that to replace just the boiler at the high school, which I do want to remind everybody, it controls both the high school and the middle school, the boiler does, that you're talking that alone replacement is $1.5 million. So that right there is a big chunk of the increase to replace that boiler. And a more efficient boiler, we will see savings in every month after it's replaced in our utility costs for years to come.
And the LED lighting, is that not just in the part that's being renovated, you're gonna put that in the whole high school then, is that correct? Or different part of it?
Yes, that is correct. The original study, we were renovating mainly the academic wing, but when the engineers visited the building, they made the suggestion that the LED light replacement be throughout the high school and not just in the academic wing alone.
Great. Anybody else have any other questions? Mr. Vega, Ms. Nance, Mr. Miller, Ms. Reibel, anybody, Mr. Johnson?
But we don't see any more unforeseen costs rising up here, Jared.
I do not. The original study was mainly architecturally looking at the academic spaces in the high school, and now we've engaged an engineering team that has reviewed all of your infrastructure, and I think they've identified all the needs for your infrastructure and your mechanical electrical system. So therefore, I do not see any major unforeseen costs. I'm sure there may be some minor ones during construction, but we will have allowance for those type of minor ones. So I do not see any more major cost increases for these projects.
Thank you. We've got one more, and this is Mrs. Strawman, he's out in the audience from Maxwell Construction. You guys are the ones that, are looking through and making sure that we have anything. Do you see anything else that may pop up? Do you feel pretty confident that you guys have covered all the bases?
No, that would answer your question. The information we have at hand, we feel pretty confident in the budget number that we put out. With any renovation project, you're always going to run into something, but as Terry indicated, no major things should pop up at this point. We've collaborated pretty closely with both Lancer plus BE as well as primary engineering. With the stage of where I'm schematic design today, we feel pretty confident.
Thank you, and thanks for showing up tonight. All right, anybody else have any questions? All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us online. Strawman, thank you for coming out tonight. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you for all those that joined us online this evening. Thank you.
All right, we'll resume our regular meeting. It is 6:48. We'll go under routine business, minutes for approval, the June 8, 2020 regular session, June 22nd, 2020 special executive session minutes as presented. Need a motion, please. Mr. Johnson, need a second. Ms. Reibel. Anybody have any questions, omissions, or errors on this? If not, all in favor, raise your hand. Mark is there. Sorry. Good. All right, all those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0, thank you. Personnel items, employment, I need a motion, please. Mr. Miller, need a second. Ms. Nance. Mr. Gailey.
Included in your packet, you have recommendations for 4 hires. You have Amy Clark, long-term sub for Shelby Hoeing, start of the school year to 10/1/20. Evelyn Irvin, long-term sub for Amy Clark in her IA position, start of the school to 10/1/20. Morgan Wells, LHS special ed math, 8/4/20 start. Rachel Burkhart, long-term sub for KCD, start of the school year to 11/2/20. Recommend those for approval.
All right. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. Great. Resignations, informational only, Mr. Gailey.
2 resignations I've received. Jason Cuddell, GMS head academic team coach, 6/11/20. Jeremy Shepard, LHS head wrestling coach, 6/25/20. Received those. I have received a few other resignations just as of today, but I'll bring those in August. Currently, just to keep you updated on personnel right now, we are only looking at our DLI program to try and finalize some plans there for our kindergarten class. And we have some cafeteria custodial positions that are open that we are looking at right now. Outside of that, I believe all other teaching positions right now are filled.
All right, approval of the 2020-2021 ECA list as presented. Is this just informational?
No, that should be, sorry, there should be lines
All right,
there.
yeah, so we're gonna need a motion and a second. I got Mr. Johnson first. Need a second, please. Ms. Rybel. Mr. Gailey.
Included in your packet is the ECA schedule with names this time filled for those ECA positions, whether it be coaches, whether it be sponsors, whether it be department chairs listed throughout ECA. That would be for LPS, CES, GMS, and LHS listed there. Are there any questions for me? I know Ms. Dudley included in there, she has different colors, letting you know if there was a change in position, letting you know if she's still waiting on something. So she tried to color code it so you could see any of those changes from last year to this year. Good, thank you. I'll let her know that. So I do know that there are a few positions she just reached out to, we talked to today, she reached out to some of our head coach positions that are employees of ours. Per the teacher contract, they get that stipend rolled into their salary and spread out over the entire school year. We talked today because of the issue last spring with our coaches and stuff where we had to try and refigure some of their salaries because of stipends, that we looked at our winter and our spring athletics right now, and if they were a head coach teaching, she personally reached out to them and said, do you want to wait and I not put that into your salary and spread it over the year and wait until the season starts before I start paying you? That way we'll know if we have those seasons or not. So she personally reached out to them and asked them for their choice on that.
You know what, though, we were saying that, I mean, I still see, even though, you know, some of the coaches didn't have this program going on, but like tonight when I pulled in, I seen, Mr. Tremaine out there working on the baseball field. I mean, you know.
And we paid, if you remember last year, we paid 25%, even when they didn't have a season, we still paid them a percentage for it.
I just want to say.
And our coaches, if you remember during the summer, if there's kids out there with them, it might be their strength and conditioning, which our coaches receive that summer stipend split amongst all of them as well.
All right, so with that being said, any other questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. Thank you. Approval of administrative contract for Mrs. Andrea Spade. Need a motion, please, Mr. Knighton. I need a second, please, Mrs. Nance. Mr. Galen.
Last month, I had all administrative contracts. It was included in your packet, but her name, I accidentally omitted her name from the list of all the other administrators. So it was part of the packet, but I wanted to make sure it made it on our list for this month, so it was in the public meeting. So just want to make sure she was included.
All right. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, raise your hand, please. 6-0. Approval to increase daily pay of bus drivers by $1 a day. Any motion, please? Mr. Miller. Need a second? Ms. Nance. Mr. Galen.
If you recall, 2 years ago, we increased bus driver pay by $5 a day. Last year, we increased it by $2 a day. Typically, in previous years, we had looked at a $1 increase. That is what our previous fleet contractor had been given his employees, and we were trying to kind of stay parallel to that. So I would recommend another $1 increase this year to their pay.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from any of the board members?
$1 a day doesn't seem like a lot. I know we talked about this last year, and I think that's why we went a little bit more. And I apologize for not getting to this. I would be interested to see if we maybe bump that up to at least 3 or 4 hours per day.
If you keep increasing it, like, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard financially if you keep increasing every year by $4 or $5. It's,
Well, so we have a hard enough time, I'm sorry, we have a hard time finding a bus driver year in, year out. I think one of the ways to do it is to increase their pay and be more competitive than other corporations. I mean, we do the same thing with teachers, we try to stay on the higher end of that, so we can, that we have the ability to get teachers.
we are competitive. I mean, price-wise, though, when I've compared our bus drivers' pay to the surrounding corporations, we are there. I mean, if you want to increase by a few dollars, it's possible. If we continue doing it, though, at large amounts every year, it's eventually going to catch up with us. It is, but I mean, you're looking at still more competitive in that area around. We have 14 with me.
$14 a day breaks us.
I mean, you guys are the ones that are, if you want to increase it, then
I'd like to see at least 3. No.
Brian, you made the motion.
I did not do that.
Mr. Miller,
I'm sorry.
stands.
So it'd be up to them to make a recommendation to amend their motion.
Well, my question to Carl would be, this is your recommendation for $1, correct?
It is. I mean, if you want to go up to 2 or 3, I mean, we'll just have to run the numbers. Like I said, in the future, I know 2 years ago we did a $5 increase. Last year we did a $2 increase. Previous years prior to the 5 and 2, it was $1 is what we were giving increases every year.
Well, then, is this something maybe we should table until the August meeting to make sure we're not getting ourselves in trouble financially?
I mean, our transportation fund, generally since we've taken over the transportation fund, has been in the black. So it's not that we are losing money in the transportation fund. We're saying, no, if we continue to go at $5 a day every year, then before long, we're going to be hitting that threshold.
Yes, Ms. Nance.
What do we pay subs?
They get paid what the rate is for that. Usually $50 for a half a day.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, teacher subs. Are they $80?
They're 85, I believe, is what they're at, if they have a teaching license. And our drivers, I mean, dude, I'm not saying, as I've stated in previous meetings, our bus drivers are some of the hardest people to find, hardest workers that we have. They're seeing the kids at the beginning of the day, end of the day. They're controlling potentially 60-plus kids on their buses, staying in seats, maintaining safety while they've got their eyes on the road, while they're dropping off kids. They have a monumental task, as well as meeting the requirements to keep their license. I'm not denying that they're very hard workers. If you want to go up to 3, then we can go up to 3, but we're going to need to seriously look at it next year and make sure that we watch our costs. Usually have it at the end. That's your decision.
Okay, so before we continue, so Bob, you want to keep it as it is? You want to take, what do you want to do? You made the motion.
Well, I'm still asking Carla, do you want to table it to next month? Are you comfortable?
If you want to increase it by $2, then, I mean, we're starting school before next, it's not that we can't pay them back on that.
Just heard some motion.
Well, there's a motion on the floor for $1 a day, so we're gonna take a vote on that. So all those in favor, raise your hand, $1 a day. 0, all those not in favor, raise your hand, $1 a day. 0, 6.
I'll
Now,
run some numbers, I can bring something back next month if you want, unless somebody wants to make a different motion.
Motion, the $3 a day.
with a motion, so we'll make that line G, which is a motion to increase the daily pay of bus drivers by $3 a day instead of $1. That is made by Brian Johnson. I need a second, please. Mr. Kuniga. All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. Mr. Gailey, thank you. I know stuff. Thank you. Thank you to the bus drivers. Next fundraisers, I need a motion, please.
You still have sub G.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Go back down. Approval of authority to hire prior to the August board meetings. I need a motion, please. Ms. Rybel, I need a second. Mr. Kuniga, Mr. Gailey.
This is just due to, we still have, as I mentioned, some custodial positions and cafeteria positions that we need to fill, and they're prior to the start of the school year, so I'm just asking for the authority. As I have in previous years, I would email you guys, let you know, once I get a recommendation, start to build something, I would send an email, I'll let you know.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. All right. Next, I'm sorry, fundraisers. Need a motion, please. Ms. Nance, need a second. Ms. Rybel, Mr. Gailey.
You have included in your packet a list of fundraisers. You have for TTC, you have sell coupon books, poster sales, jungle parking, which this year will be in the front of the high school because they want to keep the lower area open in case they need it for additional locker room space, social distancing of teams. So they want to keep that lower area available for visiting teams if needed, or even our home team in that area. So they're looking at using the area in front of the flagpole for the jungle parking this year. Bingo, and then LHS athletics for sponsorship ads, golf outing, and girls soccer spirit wear sales. They also have included in your packet, they are wanting to submit a grant request. If they receive that grant request, it would be larger than $1,000, so it would have to come back to the board to be accepted on their behalf. So, but we wanted to put it in here so you saw that they were putting in for a grant request for that. I recommend those for approval.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0, thank you. Under new business, presentation and approval of the LCSC COVID-19 reentry plan. I need a motion, please. Ms. Rybel, need a second. Mr. Johnson, All right, folks, this is what you're waiting for. Mr. Gilly?
Okay, thank you. Included in your packets, and also for those that are online, you can go to our corporation website. I just want to double check and make sure. That it is active, that if you go to our corporation website and under news, there is a link there that says draft reentry plan. So if you click on that draft reentry plan, and then there are two links there. One is the draft reentry plan. The second one is a letter from Dr. Elison, who is the medical director for the Dearborn County Health Department. And I want to thank him for his feedback and assistance while we develop this plan. I also want to thank our administrators, directors, nurses, teacher leadership teams at each school, and our attorneys for helping draft this plan or providing feedback on this plan. It has been very valuable to have a number of people participating. Also, I apologize, I left out Mrs. Nance, one of our board members, has been part of the committee members as well. And I want to thank all of those committee members for their participation and input, because I think it was very valuable to hear input from different people, from different perspectives, to make sure we had all of that while we were looking at it. What I'm going to do is, you'll have behind you, board members, as well as in your packet, is the re-entry plan that we will be going through for this. I'm going to hit highlights, as people will be able to go online and be able to download it and see it. Tomorrow, we will draft a video to be able to send out again, similar to tonight, for those who are not watching online, to be able to see it, and we'll share that with all families. I do want to share that the plan does have us starting school August 5th and following our corporation calendar. So again, our first student day would still be, according to our calendar that's previously been approved, on Wednesday, August 5th. But I do want the understanding, as we're going through this entire plan, please understand there may be revisions during the year as needed, as we need to look at e-learning, that at this state or locally, we are shut down and we need to make shifts. We may need to look at our school calendar too. That means we may need to look at the fall break and say, do we convert that to e-learning? Because if they're already off, do we try to capture some more days of instruction during that time and add days in? So those are all things that we will need to be looking at as we continue to go through this school year. In the general overview, a few points that I just want to make sure that we point out: that the corporation's path to re-entry provides consideration, recommendations, and best practices to ensure a safe and successful school year. The conditions, the current medical landscape, the growing body of knowledge around COVID-19 continues to change and evolve, and the reality presents challenges to the planning, preparing, and guiding school corporations. And I point out to that last bold sentence at the end of the first paragraph: therefore, please expect document revisions accordingly. As we get more information from the state, from the federal government, the CDC, our local health department, there will have to be revisions as we go through this school year. Second paragraph is all very important. This approach is built upon the guidance and recommendation of health officials. It's aligned to the reopening guidelines that have been provided by our state and federal leaders. It's designed to help prioritize the health and safety of our students and staff as we open school buildings and deliver instruction for this upcoming school year. The third paragraph talks about just our mission is to provide academic excellence, but also we are focused on the whole child. We're also not only worried about the academic portion, but that social emotional piece as well, as they need to be able to socialize and be able to connect with others too. And the last paragraph talks about the priority for preventing the spread of disease in the school setting is to insist, and this is key that we're going to put through here: sick staff and students must stay home. If you believe you're exhibiting symptoms or you're sick, you must stay home. Additionally, students and employees should remain home if someone in the household has COVID-19 symptoms or is being tested for COVID-19. We'll continue on to the second page, has a table of contents. These are all active links, so if those that are online, you can click on any of these to go specifically to those sections. There are 4 appendices as well. which are links to the specific building reentry plans. I'm going to go through and provide an overview of the corporation document. The next page goes through and shows just a few tables addressing community spread in K-12 schools, how there are different low levels, moderate levels, and substantial levels of spread, and what those definitions would be, as well as some definitions of face coverings, hand sanitizers, social distancing, and clean and disinfectants listed there. As we go to the next page, we're going to talk about the styles of learning options. And this is what many parents and people are wanting to know. What are we offering teaching-wise at Lawrenceburg schools this year? As we get started, this is a corporation level overview I'm going to provide, but it does include those building specifics too. Building specifics are built off of our corporation plan, and they're vertically aligned. So they are vertically aligned from our kindergarten, our elementary, all the way up through the high school. We will be sending out a questionnaire to those later in this week to allow those that want to go to the virtual learning option to be able to choose that option so that we can be able to account for you. There are 4 different kind of styles of learning that we're going to talk about. The first one is in-person learning. The definition would be where you attend school 5 days a week, all day in person. This will be our traditional style of learning schools similar to pre-COVID-19 with recommended safety measures. So that would be if they chose in person. The second option would be virtual learning. This is where the instruction might be delivered live, recorded, or through various technology platforms. Parents and students should expect 5 to 6 hours of instruction per day. That's to meet the state regulations and guidelines. Homework assignments, extra practice will be in addition. Parents should expect still homework, 1 to 2 hours of homework each day, depending upon the grade level. Enrollment will be a semester basis unless there's extenuating circumstances. With the virtual option, I do want parents to know this is not e-learning. So when we had e-learning in the spring, which is what we're going to get to an option 4, that is a more pulled back where you're having 1 to 2 hours of instruction a day. This is going to be more rigorous. This is going to be like being in the classroom, but you're at home. So please understand that this is going to be more, it could be where every day, every period, if you're a middle school or high school, maybe you're participating through every class through a Google Meet or a Zoom session. So you're still right there seeing the instruction live in the classroom and participating at home. You're still going to have the same homework. You're still going to have the same deadlines for homework. So that's what we want to make sure that we clarify to parents. This is not e-learning. This is a step above. It's more rigorous than e-learning, the virtual learning option. Option 3 is a hybrid learning. This is where you would do the virtual learning option, but there might be the allowance pre-approved by administrators where you want to come in on a certain day or some days in person to attend class. So maybe you want to schedule with the principal to see, can I come in every Friday in person to check into my classes, make sure everything's going well. I still want to do 4 days of virtual, but then I want 1 day. That has to be pre-approved if you're looking at the hybrid version. And then option 4 is e-learning. Again, this is going back to what we conducted in the springtime when we were closed. This is kind of where we would be using if we have to close a full building or the entire corporation. It's going to be pulled back. It's going to be where e-learning will be 2 to 3 hours of work each day, depending upon the grade level. It is going to be less rigorous than the virtual or in-person options due to the fact that it wasn't by the parents' choice for this. That this was something that they had to have done to be able to kind of put in additional safety measures. Normally, it is not intended for an extended period of time if we do e-learning. Again, for this upcoming school year, we'll provide e-learning if a school or corporation is closed due to an executive order of the governor, or by the state, or by our local health department if we need to look at that. So these are kind of the 4 styles of learning that we will be offering here at Lawrenceburg Schools this year. I do want to kind of talk a little bit about at our high school. We probably have the most experience in the surrounding area of providing virtual learning at our high school. We have been providing Plato learning for nearly 12 years now. So we were kind of at the forefront, being able to provide that and being able to kind of see how we can do that. And we do have some students that are half day. They're half day of doing our Play-Doh program online, and they're half day at school too. So we have a number of different options going on there. I do want to stop just for a minute if board members have any questions on those 4 styles of learning before I continue on. Mr. Johnson.
Just so we're clear, so that the parents will have an option to choose one of the 3, right? Top 3, and 4 is only going to be used if we're close.
That is correct. And really, they won't have a choice in 3. It's really 1 and 2. 3 would be as if there's a special circumstance, they reach out, has to be pre-approved with the
So
administrator.
my next question is, so what if a, parent decides to keep their child home, say they want to do the virtual? Well, 6 weeks in, it's not working.
That's what it said, if extenuating circumstances arise, they'll evaluate that.
You could evaluate it.
Yes, and enrollment will be on a semester basis unless there are extenuating circumstances. And they're looking at, I know here at the middle school, they put together even a virtual contract for students, because you may have students that jump in, and again, attendance might be an issue where they don't log in every day like they're supposed to participate in the classes. So they're gonna be tracked, even their attendance, and if their attendance, their grades, their assignments are missing that, then they will have to turn around, they'll get a letter and email from the school, they'll turn around and have a conference and be put on a contract. And then if they fail that contract, then they'll be withdrawn from that method and have to go to in-person. So those are things that we're trying to put some kind of barriers up there to help make them successful, but if not, we're gonna kind of help tell them, if you can't meet these guidelines, you're gonna have to go to the next option.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the difference between e-learning and virtual learning, because on Facebook, when this is all brought up about the virtual learning and all that, parents put out there, well, my kids are gonna do the e-learning again because they got D's and F's all year, but during e-learning, they got A's and B's. Well, like you said before, it was an rigorous studies, it was 2 or 3 hours a day, and versus a full day of school. So I'm glad you brought that up, so the parents and the students understand, it's nothing like it was the last 9 weeks of school.
That's correct.
That was not virtual learning, that was e-learning, because, under the circumstances.
Right. The expectations will be different.
But thank you for clarifying that, because I know that was one of the things.
Right. And that's why I want to spend quite a bit of time on that, because that's the biggest piece of it, to make sure that what are the options. Again, we will send out, we will also give the first week and a half, so kind of to go on your question also, Mr. Johnson, from August 5th, our first student day, until the following Friday, August 14th, we will give the option that if you want to switch to the other option, you may. So if you get into virtual, right, it's kind of like an add drop kind of in at the college levels, that you have a week and a half, but on that Friday the 14th, that's when you're locked in, and that's your commitment to it. So at that time. Correct. It's a semester commitment is what it is. And that's partially because of those classes that we have at high school that are plated or designed by semester as well. Okay, also going on to the bottom of that page, it has personal protective equipment, PPE, and sanitization. Shields and masks. All staff will be provided a face shield and mask, and they'll have the option if they want to use their own. But the school corporation, we already have over 2,500 shields in stock in my office to be able to hand out to students and staff. We are receiving masks from the state for every student, and we will be getting masks for every staff member. So every staff and student will be provided a face shield and mask, and they'll have the option if they want to utilize their own. Visitors, all permitted visitors will be required to wear either a face shield or a mask if permitted in the building.
One question on that is, so they're gonna get this when they come into school the first day?
Correct. What will happen is, like, say, for example, the shields, if they're providing that, we will be, you're kind of getting me a little bit ahead, but they will be strongly encouraged to be wearing the mask on buses. So they're gonna wear their mask in on the bus, and then they'll have their shield either at their desk, their cubby, their locker, And then if they want to use that shield instead of just the mask, they can use both, or they can switch to the shield rather than wearing the mask if they would like to. And they'll keep it then there at school. The shields would stay at school. That way we would have them there.
The reason why I was asking is what about the bus? Sometimes you want to get on the bus and not be protected and come to the school.
At the end of the school day at the elementaries, we'll ask them to keep their shields there. Middle school, high school, we will remind them, put them in your locker before you walk out the doors. And switch and put your mask on. Or if you already have it, you'll have that on. The next page continues on with PPE. It talks about sanitation wipes, talks sanitizing wipes. Every classroom, common area in the building will be supplied with sanitizing wipes for use as directed by staff. Hand sanitizer, every classroom, common area, and entry door in the building will be supplied with hand sanitizer. We already have, I apologize, I should have brought an example. We have containers that will hold a roll of 300 wipes. Those will be in every classroom and in every area. Right now they're in our gymnasiums where our athletes are using them. We also have hand sanitizer. We just had in last week 250 1-gallon pump hand sanitizers, and we have 10 55-gallon drums of hand sanitizer. We believe that will get us through maybe the first 3 months is what we were estimating. So we do have hand sanitizer on ball. It does have a spout in it where the custodians will be able to take the 1-gallon jugs back to the 55-gallon drums to be able to continue to keep those full as needed.
I have one question regarding that. Our custodians, it's going to become quite a job for them, obviously, with the extra cleaning, filling up the hand sanitizer bottles. Consider or have we talked about possibly adding some more custodial staff? Do you feel the need?
We haven't at this time. I've talked to Mr. Ferguson, and we want to evaluate the start of school first and putting procedures in place before we do any additions for that. One of the things we have discussed as we will evaluate things, do we need to pull a second shift custodian to a mid-shift custodian, like around the lunchtime area, to be able to help with cleanup of lunches due to what you're going to see in the plan. So, but we want to first evaluate and see how things go before we look at any shifting or any additional staff.
And also, you know, obviously, everything's subject to change, but I think that overtime should be considered as well. I mean, which obviously, we should, that's what.
Right. We'll evaluate, I mean, all of that will be evaluated as we get into it. So we've got the sanitizing wipes, we have hand sanitizer. We also have the Clorox T360 spraying machine. Those are on order. Those are back ordered. So we're kind of waiting. That is where it's kind of like a machine that has been demoed by Mr. Ferguson, that you would go in and be able to spray down an entire classroom with a Clorox-based cleaner in the classrooms. School bus cleaning. School buses will be cleaned twice daily after AM and PM routes. They will also be sprayed with an alcohol-based sanitizer between the secondary and elementary routes, both in the morning and in the afternoon. We have 1-gallon sprayers with the hand sanitizer. So therefore, when we empty a bus, so say for example in the morning, we bring in middle school, high school students, whichever their ending point, middle school or high school, they'll take that sprayer. Mr. Ferguson has already conducted it on a bus. It took you 2 minutes to go up and down the seats and be able to lightly spray every seat in the bus. Then they'll go out for their next route. By the time they get to the first stop, then it should be evaporated before they get to that first stop. Same way in the afternoons as well. The Common Sense Microbe Solutions. This is where buses will utilize this technology to obtain long-term sanitation protection. This is a solution that we found from Mr. Milan that's used in the car industry that is put off, and it puts a thicker layer of protection. So therefore, we will put, for example, it takes one in a car. We are putting 4 of these off in a bus, and I'm over 84 passenger buses, 2 of them off in our activity buses, and they are supposed to, in a car, last approximately a year. We are going to conduct it every 9 weeks. So we're going to put them back off every 9 weeks in our buses. So it would just be another added layer of protection that we are looking to provide as well in our transportation area. Attendance. Staff and students, so all COVID-19 related attendances will be excused absences. They will be held harmless for the school year in relation to evaluations. Also, the staff will be entitled to paid sick leave and expanded family medical leave under the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. That is an active link, so you can go to the document, and if you click on, that, it will take you directly to that form so you can see what is listed there, what the eligibility requirements are for that. So they're all active links within there. Also, we have listed an if, and with under that leave, that you do not use your current sick, vacation, personal days. That's a federal guideline that you do not, you're entitled to 2 weeks of paid leave under that act. So, and that is through, I believe it's August, but I would assume they will renew that coming up as well. Also, if by chance, we go through some of those, if all sick personal vacation days have been exhausted, the use of unpaid days will be allowed without a consequence if it is COVID-19 related. And then also, we will be considering a resolution after this to suspend policies, guidelines, forms that utilized during the 2021 school year for all COVID-19 situations. For students, again, all COVID-19 absences will be considered excused, held harmless for the school year. If a student goes on a mandated exclusion because of COVID-19, they will be offered e-learning. Again, that's e-learning, not virtual, so it's during that short term that they're off. And there are some more specifics that you can see bolded, listed there for building procedures. When student families or staff members report illnesses, when a parent calls in for the student, the secretary will ask clarifying questions. And you can see right there at the bottom of the page, you can see we scripted it out for the secretaries what questions they will specifically ask families. If a message is left by a family just saying, Susie's sick today, they will be followed up with a phone call to get more detailed information. So we do encourage families that when they call in, please make sure you provide specific information to these schools. I also encourage, listed right there on that page, is a COVID-19 screening decision tree. If you click on that link, again, it pulls down another document, and it's just a decision tree, and it kind of walks you right through, depending upon if you have certain symptoms, yes or no, and you follow right down the questions that you can see what you should be doing then based upon the symptoms and the questions. So that's to help parents make informed decisions too through this decision tree to screen their children. I'm not going to go through all of the specifics. It says when students or staff members or visitors become sick, we do have a health monitoring protocol. This is the same as our athletic protocol. Staff, parents, guardians, and students are expected to self-screen for any symptoms prior to arriving at school each day. So we're asking parents to make sure they assess their children before they send them. This is the same protocol that was approved that we're using for our athletic programs. Also, there's a waiver in our online registration that currently is in place. So again, a reminder, if you are listening or paying attention, our online registration for all new and returning students is active right now. There is a waiver that is part of that registration online. Also listed right there in the middle of that page is a student guidance for return to school. This is again a great document that if you have a question and you're unsure, if you're an individual, whether you were tested, untested, with symptoms, no symptoms, if you tested and negative, tested and positive, it goes through and tells you then what you should be doing. And there's even the next page that talks about 10 days, 14 days. How many days should I be waiting out based on? So there's many scenarios here that you can go through to see where would you fall under if you have symptoms. If you don't have symptoms, but you might have been around somebody that was positive or with symptoms, everything goes right through here and gives you different scenarios. So I encourage everybody to click on the links and read those. I'm not going to go through, we went through during the athletics talking about the untested protocol. the tested positive was symptomatic, the tested positive asymptomatic. Those are identically the same as our athletics. But if you have questions before I go to the next section of transportation, I can answer anything before I move on to that. Okay, then on transportation, you can see listed there, transportation will be available to those who cannot provide their own transportation. So I strongly encourage parents, if you feel that you want to transport your child to school each day, I encourage you to do so, if you believe that's the safest mode of transportation. Because please understand, we are providing transportation to those who do not have transportation. So please note, on the buses, it will look similar to pre-COVID-19, except for the following. Students will be asked to sit with siblings if possible. Students are strongly recommended to wear masks. At this time, it is not required. That could be something as you're seeing throughout different counties, different states, throughout different places. That could change. At this time, we are strongly recommending the wearing of masks through there. Also, students will have assigned seats, and it goes through and talks about the procedures of assigned seats. For example, it talks about students will be assigned seats on the bus as they get on the bus in the mornings. They will begin with the seats in the back of the bus and fill the seats towards the front to limit student exposure. Bus aides will ride the buses the first few days to assist with organization and assigned seating, so we can help with this. Riding a different route should only be approved in emergency situations. We're asking all families to please use the same bus to and from school to limit the changes. School bus cleaning, as I mentioned, we will continue to spray with an alcohol-based sanitizer between each route. Questions on transportation? Entering and arrival to school buildings. Everyone is strongly recommended to wear masks. Again, we strongly recommend wearing masks. There will be no admittance of unessential visitors at this time into the building. Questions on entering and arrival of school buildings?
I do have one. It says here that, you said that they should have masks, but then right below it says, staff and students should enter the building without wearing a mask.
No. It said everyone is strongly recommended to wear masks. However, anyone entering a building may be asked to remove their mask for identification purposes, including students entering in the morning.
Right, if you go right below that, Carl, it says staff and students should enter the building without wearing a mask while observing social distance. So it needs to be identified and recorded for school safety purposes.
That one needs to be removed. They will be strongly recommended to wear masks. They will only be asked if there's identification. So if a school resource officer needs to identify someone, they may be asked to pull their mask out to be able to identify them as a student.
I can see that.
Thank you. We started to look at that. That was a school resource officer recommendation. We said, how about we say keep them on, but if you need to identify somebody, you can be able to pull it out. So that will be taken out, that second sub-bullet point there. Thank you for bringing that up. We got it. Thanks. Other questions on transportation or entering and arrival of school buildings? Going on to the next page, food service. Food service, we will have more building specific, so that's what I encourage people to look at their building specific needs for food service, because K through 8 will be eating in their classrooms. 9 through 12 will be spaced in the cafeteria and the auxiliary gym. They will have assigned seats. So we'll have assigned seats either in the cafeteria or the auxiliary gym, spaced out. There are 3 different lunches that they have. Okay, but K through 8 through the middle school, they will be eating in their classrooms. Elementary food will most likely be delivered to the classroom. Middle school, they will pick up their trays from the cafeteria and go back to their 5th period class. What we're looking at. Okay. Transitioning. It's strongly recommended that staff and students wear face mask coverings while in large group gatherings. We will be conducting cleaning the hallways and high-touch surfaces throughout the school day. We currently do that. Our custodians go through now, our head custodians, and hit high traffic areas during the day. We will continue to do that more vigilantly. Supporting teaching and learning. Again, this is gonna be more specific depending upon what building your child is in, so I do encourage you to click on your specific building. We also do have a link there for roadmap for the SEL reentry. SEL is social emotional learning. So we do take into account the social emotional well-being of our students. So I encourage you to go to those links if you want that information. As we continue on from transitioning, supporting teaching and learning, that takes us to large group gatherings. Again, it strongly recommends staff and students wear face coverings or face masks. We are limited unnecessary congregations of students and staff as well. Fragile populations, we will identify those case by case and handle those on a case by case situation as those needs arise. Questions on large group gatherings or fragile populations?
I do have a question, but it's up for that. So I had a student ask me, if they are in 8th grade and they're taking Spanish, are they still going to be going over to the high school thing, or how are we doing that?
As we look into specific plans, yes, they will still be transitioning, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions on this? I would just like to take a moment to thank Mr. Gailey, administration team, attorneys, Ms. Nance, everybody that's working on this, because guys, I'm sure that they'll find it. Yes, and on behalf of the board, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
After you're welcome. And after the fragile populations, it kind of goes through some citations there, CDC guidance with some links. And then on the next page, our works cited, there's the in-class, which is the Indiana Department of Education's document that they shared out with recommendations, the Indiana State Department of Health, ASCD, to be able to talk about the whole child, CDC links there, Georgia's path to recovery for K-12 schools. We used items from there, so we wanted to make sure that we included the works cited. After that, every one of the school plans then follows that with specific links. And that's where you're getting into more specifics. A lot of the general guidelines are in the corporation, but then you can go specifically to that building to see more specifics within each one of those topics. Each building is laid out identical in the format as well. So the same format that you saw that we just went over is the same order and format in each building too. I do want to take just some time to answer if there's any specific questions from a board member that I can answer. I will try. If anybody online wants to give a question, I can answer a question, or I know we have a parent here. If they have a specific question about the thing, I can take that time to answer that at this time.
Mr. David has a question.
Well, that's what I was referring to at the beginning when we were going through the fund report. I talked about the CARES money that we could potentially use that for even our school lunch program. We could use that for, right, but then it also could go through any of our other needs related to COVID-19. So all the things that we're purchasing, hand sanitizer that's in addition, so we could utilize those funds for it. It was also utilized, yes, for those items. So we're kind of holding on as much as we can to that, but we can use it for any of those related items. Yes. And we did put in for a FEMA, because FEMA also has opportunities. We tried putting it into there to see if there's any way we could capture money from them first before we use our CARES Act money too.
Any other questions from any board member?
Do have one question is asked online. It says, why are face masks not being mandatory? One of this, so to answer this being strongly recommended is the answer we're looking at versus being required. That was through discussion that we had with Dr. Ellison, our medical doctor for the county. And the reason that it's strongly recommended is that sometimes it can be hard to enforce some of this in certain places. When you've got on a bus, when you have a number of kindergarten students on a bus, it's going to be hard. When we say mandatory, what does that mean when the kid doesn't keep their mask on or they're constantly playing with it? If they move it around, things like that. is there a consequence for that kid? What do we do? So that's why, through our discussions with Dr. Ellison, that's why we are strongly recommending the use of masks in all those areas that we talked about. So that's kind of the difference there. Another question is, what if you're high risk? Is there any other things like homeschooling? Well, the homeschool, we have that virtual option, which would be if you had the schooling at home, would be kind of the virtual learning options. You always have the option that if you withdraw from the school corporation to homeschool. What does strongly recommended look like? Is it reminders and requests to wear the pod provided? I'm not sure pod, but if we're talking about our shields and face masks, yes, there will be constant reminders that, hey, you're strongly encouraged at this time to be wearing it. If they're going out in high traffic areas, if they're in passing periods, we will be strongly encouraging before those times that if they're going to be passing kids, to either have their shields on or have their mask or both of them on at that time. So yes, we will be strongly encouraging that and constant reminders of that. Who is held responsible or liable when COVID-19 is being spread around classrooms and then homes? I mean, with that piece, that's why we do have a waiver. We've talked about that, but we are also strongly encouraged by our federal government, our state government, to re-enter into schools. That's why we're trying to put as many safeguards in place for the re-entry of schools.
I think Mr. Johnson has a question.
Yes.
Right. Not really a question, but like a legality, and our attorneys are here, maybe they'll can speak on this, but, was that? But I don't think we can enforce wearing the face mask if it's not made mandatory by the governor. I mean, there's no way we can enforce that.
Right, you do kind of answer that. That's why we partnered with our local health director and medical director here locally to be able to look at what is the best guidance at this time. Now, could there be a change? As I've said at the very beginning of this document, could that change? It could change tomorrow. What we're talking about today, the governor of Indiana could come out tomorrow and make a change, kind of like in Kentucky and other places, and it could be mandatory. At this time, it's not in the state of Indiana, but we are strongly recommending it in certain areas. I don't know if you want to elaborate, if there's anything else you want to share.
I agree with that.
One other question. Are face masks and plastic masks required or suggested? So as we've been talking about on this subject, they're strongly recommended. So they're going to be strongly encouraged, strongly recommended at certain times.
All right, well, again, thank you to everybody who's been working on this. We appreciate it, and like Mr. Gailey said, guys, this could change tomorrow. You know, it depends on what our state, federal, and local guidelines have to say on that. We do have a parent. Did you want to talk about?
I just had a couple additional questions.
I'm sorry.
I just had a couple additional questions.
About what we just talked about.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we heard what was online as well.
Okay, let me put this up here so you can state your name and everything. Okay. There's not like this.
No, I didn't put one up there.
Thank you. My name is Natalie Albert. I just had a couple additional questions. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work. Can't imagine the immensity of this re-entry plan, so thank you all very much. Thank you for being very thorough tonight, explaining it to all of us. I'm rapidly trying to look at some of the specific building plans, so I apologize if there may be in there. You mentioned in transitioning, that's one of my questions. I don't see any specific guidelines when kids are going, it looks like they are going to playgrounds, they are going to specials. I would assume that also means transitioning to high ability classes, dual language classes, those kinds of things. Is there a specific protocol for, I see the specials, they're gonna sanitize prior to going to specials, will we also be sanitizing prior to going to playground, coming back in from playground?
Yes, good question. For the playgrounds, we will be sanitizing. So in the mornings to start, as well as afterwards, the reason we're doing it in the mornings is because our playgrounds are so community-based. So we don't know if people are using them at night when we're not there. So we're going to have the custodians go out and spray the bigger playground items then in the morning as school is starting. That way they're prepared and ready for the students. I know they're looking at the primary school opening up and expanding. We've got the kindergarten playground, you've got the first and second grade. They're looking to open the entire area up to like first and second grade, the kindergarten part. That way it's a larger area to be able to social distance students in those areas. So I know those are areas that they are looking at.
I guess more specifically, will children be directed to wash or sanitize their hands prior and after?
Yes, in there, as they're looking at transition, there'll be multiple times where they are setting up like schedules to do hand washings from the classrooms. They'll be bleeding. They're looking at different grade levels at the times of the day where they can stagger them to be able to go to the bathrooms to be able to do specific hand washing besides having the hand sanitizer, because we know hand washing is a better protection than just the hand sanitizer. So they're scheduling those hand washing times at each of the buildings.
Additionally, can you speak to a little bit of the classroom specifics regarding spacing of desks or orientation that kids will be sitting? I didn't see any of those specifics.
Yes, in the buildings, they will be spaced as much as possible. So if we can get up to 6 feet, we will try to space it. So we have asked that any non-essential required items in the classroom be removed so that we can push then desks as far in spacing as possible. It may be only 3 feet in certain areas, it may be 6 feet. It's really gonna depend upon the size of that classroom because each building has different sized classrooms. So it's gonna be hard for me to say it's specific corporation-wide. So we're trying to space, we're looking at other larger groups. So for example, like here at the middle school, our choir room is smaller and we have larger classes. They're gonna be using this commons area for their classroom. So if we need to move around middle school, high school, certain areas to be able to provide additional spacing, we'll be doing that as well.
Just a final question. In the general guidelines for returning to school after exclusion, there's some language that says that if someone is identified to be tested positive, they will close off those areas that were used by that student or staff. Also that they will notify families or inform those who have had close contact. Can you please speak very clearly about who will be considered to have close contact and what those areas might enter? Are we talking classroom-wide? Are we talking a couple surrounding people? Can you speak to who will be notified and how?
Yes, the close contact would be within that 6 feet kind of range. So if you're inside that 6, so it may mean in the classroom that if we have a student here, we're going to have to kind of look at the perimeter 6 feet around that student's desk and say who was nearby. That would be inside that 6 feet. Also, it would be if it is more than 15 minutes. One of the things the guidelines CDC also talks about, if it is greater or less than the 15 minutes. So if you're in a hallway and you pass that student, doesn't necessarily mean then that we're gonna be notifying you because you passed that student in the hallway because it's under that 15 minutes. But if you were in an area for more than 15 minutes around that student within 6 feet, then we are looking to notify you. So that would be whether it's a classroom, whether it's an activity, whether it's on the school bus, those are areas that we would look to try and identify and try to do contact tracing.
As students, and I think particularly of the younger ones, I noticed the language around using lanes to be walking through hallways and things. Obviously, there's lanes. Will they also be encouraged to social distance in line, or if they do have to congregate at different times?
Yes, there will be social distance that we're encouraging in the hallways, as well as like they're looking at their plans for when they arrive to school, that we release them off the bus staggered, that looking at having them enter different doors, releasing them from different doors, having them, that if they're in the hallway, that if they're a parent pickup, spreading them out and having markers in the hallways, that they would sit 6 feet apart in the hallway. So those are all things that we're looking for social distancing at those times.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I think there are a few more. If you want me to, go back here, answer a few more questions. Says what type of cleaning supplies will be used by custodians? We went through, so if they go through at the beginning of the plan, there's a PPE listed there, so I encourage them to go through and read those. If they do have specific questions, they can reach out to myself as well. Our classroom size is being reduced. It's really going to depend upon what our numbers are, is what we are looking at there. If they do virtual, will they have to be up and in class at 8, in by the tablets, etc.? My answer would be that there is a very good chance that if you're doing virtual learning, that yes, you will need to be ready to be logged in to your Chromebook at 7:45 when first period begins. So if it's a middle school or high school student, there would be a very good chance that yes, you would have to be up at 7:45, logged in, ready to go. Are you not safeguarding our children? This is not the safest way to reopen the school. Apologize, we're doing the best we can given the current circumstances. Another one, I thought they were voting on what to do going forward. Shouldn't all faculty members be allowed to vote, not just a few that aren't in classrooms with children? We had building administrators meet with their teacher leadership groups, which represented every grade level, and teacher groups in each one of our schools. So to say that we didn't have them, that it was a few that aren't in the classrooms, we did have this plan reviewed. Questions, I met with Mr. Morton, the teacher president, the union president. We went through it. He went to each one of the teacher meetings when the principals met with the teacher leadership groups to help provide answers after we discussed as well. I was able to provide a number of answers back to the principals and Mr. Morton to their questions. That's what for the LHS building plan. I see several references to the additional time being provided for students to wash hands in between classes. Will class time be reduced to accommodate this additional time? There may be times when additional time will be needed from a class. So there may be some time that's taken from a class that if they need to. That's why each building is trying to stagger and create hand washing schedules at their buildings. Good questions and good comments from our online audience.
All right. Thank you, everyone who's participated in this. Now we got a motion by Ms. Rybold and a second by Mr. Johnson. All those in favor to approve the LCSC COVID-19 reentry plan, please raise your hand. 6-0. Again, thanks everyone. B, approval of board resolution for suspension of school board policies conflicting with waivers or extensions during COVID-19 pandemic. I need a motion, please. Ms. Nance, I need a second. Mr. Nego. Mr. Gillen.
You have included in your packet a resolution, and the resolution is for suspension of school board policies conflicting with waivers or extensions during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there have been a number of executive orders by the governor, as well as we have policies for the corporation that conflict, such as attendance policies, procedures. And this is allowing us to suspend those just during the COVID-19 time. So once we get past, hopefully, the COVID-19, we're able to get beyond that, then we would then go back to re-implementing then all of our policies and procedures.
Thank you. All those in favor of this, please raise your hand. 6-0. Approval to replace CESPA system using rainy day funds. Need a motion, please. Mr. Johnson, I need a second. Mr. Miller. Mr. Gillen.
You have included in your packets, unfortunately, the PA system at Central Elementary School did go out. It was not part of our plans to replace that. Anything that is more than $10,000, and if it's not on our capital projects plans, we would need to go through, revise our plans. It would take us approximately 2 to 3 months to have those meetings, postings, and advertisements. And I would recommend we really need to get that done before school year starts. So I would like to recommend using rainy day funds to be able to replace this. If you recall, I did send an email out asking that if we could get it going, because It will take time to get it ordered and have it put in. We're hoping that that will be put in next week, because last week they were able to get it ordered. It took them a week to 2 weeks to get it in. We're hoping next week that they can get that in.
Any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. Approval of moisture management settlement agreement. I need a motion, please. Johnson, I need a second. Ms. Nance. Gilly.
Included in your packet is a settlement agreement with moisture management going through, and what the agreement would be to provide us 3 free years of their Roof Smart warranty service, as well as continue to keep our commitment to the 20-year Roof Smart service. So we last year paid for that service. We would have 3 free years. We would still have 16 years left then of that 20-year Roof Smart warranty, which we had a 20-year kind of already warranty agreement that we have to provide that Roof Smart warranty service on it to make sure that we keep the warranty valid each year too. So I would recommend approval of that.
Any comments, questions, planning board members? Mr. Connecticut?
Sorry, I was talking about this, but I appreciate them stepping up and helping us out in this situation, and then the other parties. But I would much rather see this formatted. I mean, they're not going to give us 3 years. We discussed this when we entered into this contract, where they want to pay up front, and all discussion back and forth. I would much rather see this structured as they pay us up front now, we just continue to contract with it if it is, or the money going to escrow will be drawn down as we go to that year of service. If it protects the school corporation, we have no protection here if we enter this agreement and they go down there.
We'll ask our attorneys if that's an option through discussion. I know they've been negotiating with moisture management, so I guess I'm going to ask if that would be consideration or an option on their part.
I mean, I can say that it is almost definitely not, and we've pushed back against them as much as we feel that we can. And we will certainly go back if it's the board's will, but the way that this is structured and the way that this settlement agreement is written is kind of the key for them, to have it spread out for 3 years of 3 payments. I know that when we trace back with Carl and Cam, the kind of origins of the warranty agreement. So what we have is the Roof Smart warranty agreement that is required for 20 years, and we name moisture management, but like Mr. Kamiga said, this agreement is for the warranty, for the roof, with agreement, 20-year agreement, name moisture management. They wanted a lump sum payment for the entire length of that 20 years. We declined to do that, and obviously they're aware of that as much as we are. And so while they're willing to give us 3 years with no payments, which is a total of $55,242, which we would add to the total recovery of the American Roofing litigation or dispute, the way that it's structured is something moisture management has really put out. In fact, Zach and I, just kind of our last effort was we just kind of took that language out, and they just rejected this. That basically it's not written in this exact way. They were not interested in agreeing to it. Of course, it is entirely the purview of the board and accepted this offer.
Well, it just goes back to the thing. We have no protection. We have zero protection. And that's just my thoughts. I don't know if the other board members feel that. So they're definitely adamant about even carrying a bond for the remaining analysis.
Yeah, you know, that's my perception, is that they're willing to do this, but also they want some guarantees too.
But that warranty, they got a 20-year contract. I mean, how come we're the only ones that have to give guarantees to everybody else? I'm not going
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and honestly, Mr. Kinnick, that was our motivation with this negotiation, was that Zach and I wanted to make sure that before we brought it to the board, that we tried everything we could to have this just be a straight up exchange of cash. We just wanted them to contribute cash and not have any agreement beyond that, not even talk about the warranty at all. And they just pushed back, and that's why it stayed as long as it is at this point. And right now, I can tell you, we are kind of taking a really good place with them. We push them as far as we can, but that doesn't mean you have to take it. It just means that, in my opinion, this is all we're going to do.
I'm just voicing my concern.
I agree.
I appreciate everything you guys have done.
Yeah, we voiced your opinion with them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nick. I mean, Mr. Nick has a good point. I mean, it's like, we're on the short end of the stick 99.9% of the time on, whenever anything like this happens. The positive note is, this is something we didn't know we were going to get, and Mr. Will and Mr. Anderson did a great job, getting as far as, I think I agree with you. I mean, it's every time we do it, but, if our attorneys feel like it's the best that they can do for us,
And Your Honor, the glass half full perspective is that as long as motion management stays in business for at least the next 3 years, we would have to pay for those monitoring services. So we would experience a net positive of $55,242 to the district.
thank you guys very much. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns on this? Mr. Nagle, thank you. All right, take a vote. All those in favor of approval of the voice management settlement contract, need to raise your hand. 5. Against? Mr. Nagle is against. 5-1. Thank you. Approval to send the early college grade request to the foundation with favorable recommendation. I need a approval, please, Ms. Rival. For motion on it. I need a second. Mr. Miller. Mr. Gailey.
Included in your packet is an endowment grant application for early college assistance. Already been sent this with favorable recommendation.
All those, any questions, comments by anybody? All those in favor, raise your hand. We have 5 against, abstaining, 5-0-1 with this Vance abstaining. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody. And I really do want to give Mr. Gailey kudos, and Mrs. Anderson. There were at least 4 multi-hour sessions where they put this really good plan together. They worked so hard, and everyone did it with the effort from Mr. Gailey. Really did a great job. So,
Thank you.
everybody.
5-0-1, Ms. Vance is on the foundation board. All right, great. Acceptance of donated shields for our staff and students from Super ATV in Madison, Indiana. Need a motion, please. Mr. Johnson, need a second. Ms. Vance. Gilly?
Just wanted to recognize and thank Super ATV out of Madison for the donation of the shields. And I mean, those, I believe, having over 2,500 shields is going to be worth more than $1,000. So I wanted to make sure we accepted that and thank them publicly for that donation.
Well, thank you very much. That's awesome. Any questions from any board members? All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, 6-0. Acceptance of a $5,000 donation to Tiger Pride from Shirley Sykes' family. I need a motion, please. Mr. Connecticut, need a second, please. Get that one hands up. All right, Ms. Rival. Mr. Gillen.
Just wanted to thank, Mrs. Sykes had contacted me and wanted to discuss possibly different areas within the school that could use assistance, that she wanted to make a donation on behalf of her family. And I thought out this year that with athletics losing the spring, coming here for the fall, we're not gonna be able to have meet your tiger nights. We're gonna have reduced attendance at athletic events. Their concessions can only be pre-packaged items that they're gonna have a lot of reduced funds. They try to support the athletics at a lower grade by providing funds to them. And I thought that was a good area for this year. Tiger Pride doesn't know, so this is actually an announcement to them. If it is proved that they would be receiving a $5,000 donation from the Shirley Sykes family, that I believe would be very well worth it this year given the current situation. Now, I do want to make it known that it's not necessarily that that money will go to the same place every year. Her goal is to hopefully spread it out over different entities of the school each year. So this is a gift to Tiger Pride this year, but not necessarily every year.
Awesome. Any questions by anybody else on the board? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Sykes, appreciate it. Next, approval to declare old broken desktops, laptops, UPSs, and monitors mostly obsolete and permission to dispose. I need a motion, please. Mr. Johnson, I need a second, please. Mr. Miller? Mr. Gailey?
We've included in your package a list of asset tag numbers for older broken desktops, laptops, UPSs, other peripherals such as monitors mostly that are broken, so we'd like to declare those obsolete and be able to dispose of those.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor, raise your hand. 6-0, thank you. At this time, we will open up for any citizens' participation. There's no one out here in the audience anymore. Mr. Kelly, do we have anything else?
Online, the only thing online, the question is, will plastic masks also be required? Not sure if they're referring to the shields. I haven't really seen plastic masks per se, but shields, again, they will be strongly recommended in areas, either a shield or a mask in certain areas. So they're going to be strongly encouraged or strongly recommended.
All right. Thank you. Nothing else?
It's all that's showing up in the chat box at this time.
Great. Superintendent comments, Mr. Gailey.
Just wanted to remind everyone that we do have online registration going on at this time for all new and returning students, regardless of the option that you're going to be choosing for school. So whether you're going to be in person or virtual, please, we need all families to go and re-register. It's to update all of your student contact information. So the sooner the better, so that we do have our enrollment numbers. So if you know families out there, friends, reach out to your friends and families, your neighbors, say, hey, have you updated online? The links can be found on the corporation website under the news section, right on the main page. Again, I remind everybody that a survey will be sent out later this week, that if you are wanting to choose the virtual option, we'll be sending a survey out later this week. If you need help with registration, you can email registration@elberg.k12.in.us for help. Reminder again that we will be starting the school year on August 5th. We do plan at this time to follow the corporation calendar. School supply lists are on the school website, so LPS, CES, GMS, their school supply lists are on their school websites. Schools will inform parents about possible open house options that might be possibly virtual options, or they may have options to bring and drop off at staggered times. But schools will be reaching out to parents to let them know about those options. And it's our belief we only have 3 weeks until August 5th.
All right, great, thank you. Board comments, let's start off with Ms. Rybold.
Thank you, no, I don't have any.
Mr. Miller. Mr. Knapp. Ms. Nance.
Congratulations to the 2020 graduates.
Johnson.
Again, all the work that was done on the reentry plan was awesome. I appreciate all the work that was put into that. Really good thing with the day and all the other committee members. Really wish to bring up Mr. Arnold. You know, really my teacher, I think, taught 41 years in school, I have an answer. I'm not sure everybody knows that, but he was family.
Thank you. I got nothing really further to add. Again, thanks to everybody for the hard work they did for the reentry plan, and just get it for the next 3 weeks of the school starts. Ready to take vacation.
Thanks, everyone. Meeting's adjourned.
Oh, give me one. There was just one last thing. If we go virtual, do we have to get the whole school list? My answer would probably be no. So there's gonna be probably certain items that, as long as you have them at home, that you may, certain items that you only need at school. So probably you do not have to get the full list. That's it. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, everyone.